All right, hello, good afternoon, welcome back to the class. Welcome to another live Hindu and Indian Express analysis. Today is 26th August, it's a Monday. How many of you are here with me today? We are live after some technological challenges, but we made it through. Quickly give me a response in the chat box if you all are here. Okay, Ridhi is here. I can see Diptakshi. Who all are here? Quickly, responses in the chat box. Let's start very soon. Ansh is here. Gauravi is here. Kashish is here. Happy Janmashtami to all of you as well. Very happy Janmashtami. Okay. Should we start? Shall we start? We have 20 people live. I hope you all can hear me and see my presentation. If yes, quickly give me a yes in the chat box. A yes in the chat box if everything is working fine. Technology is usually an enabler, but sometimes it can truly be a pain in the bottoms. So, yeah, anyway, we are live. Okay, ठीक है, we'll start. We'll start without any further ado. I'll just quickly share the link of the class as well so that other people can also join. Till then, आप लोग मुझे बताओ, how many of you have read today's newspaper? What is the most pressing news of today in the newspaper? कितने लोग पढ़ के आ रहे हैं न्यूज़पेपर? Tell me in the chat box, what did you read in today's news? While I quickly share the link. Responses from everyone in the chat box. Okay, the link has been. Two editorials, Malayalam film industry, did the Hindu. Okay. Latest mock analysis has been posted. I don't think so. I think it will be posted this week itself. So stay tuned. It would come up very soon. Yes, there's a हेमा कमेटी, जस्टिस हेमा कमेटी. इज्जत से नाम लो यार थोड़ा. हेमा कमेटी क्या होता है? बचपन की दोस्त नहीं है वो आपकी? जस्टिस हेमा कमेटी, ठीक है? यू ऑल आर टू बी लॉयर्स. गिव द रिस्पेक्ट यू वुड लाइक टू कमांड. ऑलराइट, चलो ठीक है. गुड जॉब. Let's start. Today is 26th of August. It's a Monday, and we are back with another Hindu analysis. My name is Govind Singh, your faculty for GK, English, and logical reasoning. All right, so what are our topics for discussion? The first topic is the headline news on the Hindu newspaper, which is preemptive strike on Lebanon. By which country? Tell me in the chat box which country has done this preemptive strike. Then we have an article in the newspaper on classical languages, and the centers are demanding autonomy. So we'll talk a little bit about what are classical languages, how many classical languages, why are they demanding autonomy. Then there's an article on e-cigarettes. So we'll talk a little bit about what is that and how it is impacting Indians. Then we have an article on Indians migrating abroad and the effect of this migration on their incomes. And lastly, but not the least, we have the Justice Hema report, which is our editorial article, and a few words of vocabulary. So it's going to be a very interesting session today. We have 5 different topics on very different subject areas. So it's going to be fun. If you all are ready to start, quickly give me a ready in the chat box and then we shall right away start it. Ready in the chat box very quickly. Yes, Israel has done that attack. Ready in the chat box. Is everyone ready to start? Okay. Let's begin. Okay. So the first article for the day is attacking Hezbollah. Israel fighter jets bomb Lebanon. Now, Lebanon is a country which is in the north of Israel, right? We saw the map that day. So Lebanon is a neighbor of Israel, which is in the northern part. What is the capital of Lebanon? Some static GK questions should be in place. What is the capital of Lebanon? And let's talk about this Hezbollah as well. What is Hezbollah? Hezbollah is a militant group, a terror group, you could say, classified as a terrorist group by a lot of countries. And it receives support from which other Arab country, which is fighting a proxy war, you could say. Which country supports Hezbollah? Tell me in the chat box. Yes, Beirut is the capital, and Iran is the country which we are talking about. Absolutely correct. Okay, so these guys have launched a preemptive strike on Lebanon. What is a preemptive strike? A preemptive strike is where you attack a particular region in a particular country even before they attack you, based on your intelligence, based on your reports. So इससे पहले कि आप हम पे अटैक करो, हम आप पे अटैक कर देंगे. India has also done a preemptive strike a few years back on Pakistan. You all remember that? Which place was it when we did a preemptive strike? Do you guys remember? चलो आर्टिकल देखते हैं. लेट्स गो टू द न्यूज़पेपर एंड रीड द आर्टिकल. I'll quickly share the newspaper with you all. Okay, here's the newspaper. Attacking Hezbollah, Israel fighter jets bomb Lebanon. Military calls it preemptive strike as the Iran-backed militant group launches attack across border to avenge the killing of one of its top commanders. Top commanders of whom? Hezbollah. Situation has not escalated but remains tense. Now, the article says Israel launched a wave of airstrikes across southern Lebanon early on Sunday in what it is said to be a preemptive strike to avert a large Hezbollah attack. Right? I explained you what's a preemptive strike. The militant group responded that it had launched hundreds of rockets and drones to avenge the killing of one of its top commanders last month. The heavy exchange does not appear to have ignited a long-feared war, but the situation remains tense. Egypt was meanwhile hosting high-level talks aimed at brokering a ceasefire in the 10-month-old Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. People who are not well versed with the Israel-Hamas issue, we have a dedicated video on the channel, a live video, where I have talked about the whole conflict, the Israel-Palestine conflict, its historical context, its background, what is the current situation, what is the implication on India, what is the response of all the neighbors. So do check out that video. You'll find it on the channel. Just write Israel-Palestine conflict, CLLST, and you'll find it. Okay, chalo. So this was just a factual piece of information. There's not much to remember here, but you need to keep in mind because this is an important development in the war. Okay. Air sirens were reported through northern Israel, and the country's Ben Gurion International Airport closed and diverted flights for about an hour. Israel's home front command raised high-level alert. Hezbollah said its attack involved more than 320 Katyusha rockets and large number of drones. ठीक है, दोनों साइड से अटैक चल रहा है, बमबारी चल रही है, धुआंधार. All right, let's talk about the next topic of the day, which is classical languages explained. Classical language centers ask for autonomy. Now, before we understand why they ask for autonomy, tell me how many classical languages are there? How many classical languages? Quickly in the chat box. Yes. Okay, screen is not visible. Just give me a second. All right, we're here. 6, but 3 more to be added. Yeah, let's see if they are added or not. Yes, absolutely correct. The answer is 6. Rajnandini, it's not 8. Yes, Balakot is the correct answer regarding airstrikes. How is this preemptive? It is not a response to the earlier attack. It is a response to the earlier attack, but is in preemption of another attack. ठीक है, तो एक तो अटैक हो गया तो उसका रिटेलिएशन भी कह सकते हो इसको, but they are calling it a preemptive strike because they speculated कि एक और अटैक होने वाला था. So that is why it becomes preemptive as well. Okay. Chalo. Which 6 languages? Let's quickly look at the names. Which are the 6 languages? One is Tamil. Then you have Sanskrit. Then you have Telugu. then you have Kannada, then you have Malayalam, and then you have Odia. Okay, I think we have discussed this article, not exactly this article, this topic previously as well in one of our classes. Tamil was accorded the status of classical language in which year? Tamil was the first language to get this status, but it got it in which particular year? If you attended that class and if you took notes and if you revised those notes, then you should remember this piece of information because we discussed this. When did Tamil get the status of classical language? Yes, Deeptakshi, Pali, Persian, and Prakrit are yet to be added. It's not official yet. Yes, 2004 is the right answer. Absolutely correct. And then subsequently, other classical languages are were also added. ठीक है? तो ये इतनी सारी debate and controversy क्यों होती है regarding classical languages? What is so special about classical languages? We'll talk about that. उससे पहले एक और question for you is, how many official languages are there in India? How many official languages? Chat box. 22. Correct answer. Absolutely. There are 22 official languages. No, Rajanandini, it's not 2. Tanvi, it's not 2. It's 22. Mentioned in the Indian Constitution as well. Okay, chalo, let's circle back to classical languages. So, when you talk of classical languages, firstly, there are a few criteria, specifically 4 criteria for a language to be accorded the status of a classical language. We have discussed this before, so I'm not going to dive a lot deeper into this, but it's mostly related that the language should be unique and original. It should be more than 1500 to 1000 years old. It should not be a derivation of any other particular languages and so on. Okay, so इस तरीके से there are classifications and criteria of how you choose which language can be accorded the status of a classical language. Correct. Now, why are these languages or proponents of these languages always, in expectation of getting a status of a classical language? Why does every language want to get a status of a classical language? Is the question. So the answer to that is, when a language becomes a classical language, it gets a lot of additional benefits from the government. For example, they establish centers of learning for that particular language. They allocate exclusive funds for that particular language. They appoint professors for that particular language in universities for the promotion of that language. So basically, the language gets propagation and more visibility, and it's basically to protect the heritage of that particular language. ठीक है? तो अभी तक 6 languages हैं, 3 are more to be added. And now, why is this issue in the news again? It's simply because of elections coming up in multiple states, and those states are also demanding that we should also get classical language status. And the states which already have the classical language status, not states per se, but the languages which have the classical language status, are demanding autonomy. They are demanding more control on how they run their centers and how they operate the propagation of the language, right? Chalo, let's read the article now. This is the gist of the article, which I just told you. Okay. There are many important articles in today's newspaper. Make sure you cover today's newspaper very well. Okay. Special centers set up for the promotion of Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, and Odia after they were designated classical languages are demanding autonomy in their functioning or in order to better carry out their functions, which I just told you. India has 6 classical languages. We discussed this. While 4 of the centers for classical languages function under the aegis of Central Institute of Indian Languages, aegis as in under the control, under the supervision of this institute, Mysuru, which is the Center for Tamil, which is autonomous. The Tamil language ka center is autonomous. For the promotion of Sanskrit, dedicated universities also receive funds directly from Education Ministry. At a meeting in March 18, project directors of centers for Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia demanded that their institutes be made autonomous. Following this, the centers were asked to submit detailed reports regarding which was done in June. However, no further direction has been received from the Education Ministry as of now. Once a language is notified as a classical languages, it gets certain benefits to promote it, including major international awards for scholars, for eminence, the Center of Excellence, and multiple other things. Okay. Replying to a question in Lok Sabha, Union government has said that spent 643.84 crore on the promotion of Sanskrit, while 29 crore was spent on other 5 classical languages. So quite a disparity. The sources said that chief problem facing these 4 languages centers was that any event or activity planned for them had to get financial sanction from this learning center, which is CIIL, because it is the one which supervises it. Most of the time, the center has to hold the event first and then get the cost reimbursed from the CIIL, make it difficult to organize many. So इसी वजह से they are demanding कि भाई we don't want to get approval of the CIIL or get reimbursements from CIIL. We want to be running autonomously, having the control in our own hands. ठीक है. This also means many positions for research scholars as well as administrative staff remain vacant in the absence of regular funds. At the Center of Excellence for Studies in Classical Languages, Telugu in Nellore and Andhra Pradesh, as against approved staff, require 36 people, but only 12 people are on board. Similarly, for Odia, they have given you the numbers. And in 2023, Education Ministry allocated 1.76 crore for Odia Center, but it could only spend 56 lakhs because funds dispersed anyway from the CIIL. Okay? So this is all this article is talking about. I gave you the crux of it. And these languages are demanding an autonomy and control over how they run their centers so that they don't have to rely on CIL for their funds. Okay. Chalo, badhiya. Let's move to the next topic of the day, which is e-cigarettes. So how many of you are smokers? How many of you have smoked a cigarette? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Official languages and scheduled languages are the same, Rajnandini. It's the same thing. 22 scheduled languages keh lo ya 22 keh lo. Because they are in the schedule, they are also called scheduled languages, as rightly mentioned by Deeptakshi. Okay, no. Good boys and good girls in the chat box. Okay. Probably good or probably dishonest. I won't know. But I'm glad to know that. Asthmatic tendency है. Okay. मरेगी. चलो अच्छी बात है. मम्मी का खौफ होना चाहिए. But coming back to the issue, so this is a very serious issue in youngsters these days. And e-cigarettes are they available in India? Are e-cigarettes available in India? इसको आप cool language में काफी लोग vapes भी कहते हैं. Are they available in India? No, I don't smoke, yaar. And I haven't even tried it. There's no plan on trying it either. I listen to Akshay Kumar कि वो क्या कहता है बहादुरी फूफू करने में नहीं something like that and बहुत सारा tar which I see before the movies so that scares me. Okay, so some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. The answer is officially they are banned, okay, like a lot of other things, but still you can procure them. They are available in a discreet manner. Okay? They are still sold. They are still consumed in India, and it is a big issue. Why it is a big issue? How e-cigarettes are different from regular cigarettes? We'll talk a little bit about that. Radhe saying my friends do it. It's so disgusting smelling. Fair enough. I'm not passing any judgments on your friends, but sure. Yes, e-cigarettes are banned in India. Officially, they are banned, but I mean, so is alcohol in Gujarat and Bihar. But do people not drink in Gujarat and Bihar? We all know the answer, right? They're easily available, just like liquor in the banned states. And yeah, that is an unfortunate thing. So let's read what the article is saying. So e-cigarettes are basically electronic devices. E-cigarettes keh lo ya vapes keh lo, they are electronic devices where you have a solution instead of regular tobacco जैसा cigarette में होता है. ठीक है, तो you have a solution on which you apply heat. Like there is a electric current which changes electric energy into heat energy, basic physics, and this heat burns this solution which then gives you that vapor. It converts into vapor, right? And then you smoke it, and then you also let out smoke, which leads to passive smoking by a lot of people, which is also very harmful to the health. So, active smoking, which is consuming the cigarette or the e-cigarette yourself, is harmful. Passive smoking is also harmful. Some people, some reports say that passive smoking is probably more harmful than active smoking because there are no filters and all of that which are present in a cigarette or a vape, right? So it's an issue. Let's look at what the article is saying. Let's go to the article. Okay. Mm, where is the article? Where is the article? Okay, here is the editorial article. So this is by a clinical psychologist, Mrs. Bhavna or Miss Bhavna, I don't know. New age gateway devices, the latest health threat. Now, why is it called a gateway devices? Can anyone of you explain why is it being called a gateway device? What are gateway drugs? Have you heard of the word gateway drugs? Some drugs are also called gateway drugs. Any idea why gateway? Why this terminology? Yes, Mishika has answered the second part of my question, like what are gateway drugs? Drugs which open up to harder drugs. So when you consume a particular gateway drug, which is milder in nature, you get used to it. Your body gets used to it, and then you want a drug which is, let's say, more potent in nature, and then you go on to try even harder drugs. Weed is a gateway drug, correct? Weed, marijuana, joint, whatever you call it, and that is called a gateway drug. But again, we are not talking about drugs here. We are talking about vapes being a gateway device. So similarly, the same concept is they're saying that vapes are a gateway devices into smoking because they are easy, because people say they are cool, people say they are less risky compared to a regular cigarette. So it's a notion which is being propagated that vapes or e-cigarettes are probably less harmful than regular cigarettes, but it's far from the truth. They are equally, if not more harmful as compared to cigarettes. Why? Can you guess the reason why I say that vapes or e-cigarettes are more harmful than regular cigarettes? Any guesses? Mishika has a lot of experience with drugs. She knows weed is a gateway drug which opens up to coke. By the way, this is not the coke which you drink with your food. Okay, this is the powder wala coke, cocaine. E-cigarettes have a higher level of nicotine, which puts teens at the risk of developing nicotine addiction. They can get us hooked more. Yes, both of them are correct responses. Not exactly because of more smoke. Vapes are more addictive as it's a stronger hit. Yes, okay, you know a lot. Yes, that's also true. But another reason, which you look at it from a broader perspective, is it's propagated to be cool in the society. It's propagated to be less riskier as compared to the cigarette. So the propensity of smoking is more, and of course, then the nicotine is more, then the addiction is more, and all of that. And uske alawa, you don't have to light it with a match or a lighter. You can just carry it in your pocket and keep on smoking it, keep on smoking it. There are flavors with e-cigarettes and vapes and all of that. So pretty bad. Okay. Anyway, let's come back to what our article is saying. What happens when a portrayed healthy alternative turns out to be more dangerous than the original? This is precisely what is happening with new age gateway devices such as e-cigarettes, vaping pens, electronic nicotine delivery systems, or ends. Heat not burn devices. I told you, like you burn tobacco in the cigarette, you just heat the solution in your e-cigarettes. All these devices were portrayed to offer a healthier alternative to smoking that would make it easier to quit tobacco. But reality is it is quite different. Instead, they have caused a public health crisis, causing physical harm and affecting mental well-being of children. So they are calling it a new pandemic, right? So here they have given you stats about US and the consumption of e-cigarettes in US, which you can read up. These devices are now getting a new generation hooked on nicotine, exposing them to potential long-term health consequences. Children have been lured into trying and becoming addicted to e-cigarettes and vaping devices through a targeted marking of flavors. बहुत फैंसी फ्लेवर्स आते हैं इसमें, स्ट्रॉबेरी, कॉटन कैंडी, पॉप रॉक्स, लेमनेड, In addition to alleged predatory marketing tactics, mental health issues and negative effects of excessive technology use are also driving some children towards these devices. Another thing is vapes, when you look at them, or e-cigarettes, when you look at them, are expensive. They are more expensive than your regular cigarettes. So it also puts you at a financial, disadvantage. First, children are increasingly susceptible to new age devices from an early age. What was once an adolescent concern for now engaging in distracting activities and developing addictive tendencies has shifted, with even those under 10 years of age now showing signs of vulnerability. The colorful imagery created by these new age devices will bring they will bring happiness and elevate one's social status in the lives of targeted children. ठीक है, ये काफी बड़ा इशू है कि स्ट्रेस हो रहा है तो सुट्टा फूक लो, स्ट्रेस हो रहा है तो वेप कर लो. So that is quite a popular trend amongst youngsters, even in India, which again increases the propensity of people getting into smoking. ठीक है, peer pressure में usually start होता है, and then people get hooked and they find it hard to quit, right? And of course, there's a social status attached to it as well. Ki we are cool because we do vapes. Those who vape are more likely to be experience feelings of loneliness and social isolation when compared to peers who abstain from these. These psychological factors contribute to a troubling surge in children being drawn to enticing e-devices such as vapes and e-cigarettes. A gateway to danger. So gateway to danger क्यों बोला जा रहा है? Second aspect is the health aspect, physical and mental health well-being. While physical impacts are lung damage and spread of e-cigarettes or vaping use associated lung injury have become evident, we also need to shine spotlight on mental impact. ठीक है, तो वही सारी बात यहाँ पे फिर से करी गई है. डेवलपमेंटल स्टेज पे it can be harmful, chemical changes, nicotine addiction, creating a cycle, all of that. Then there's a survey whose findings have been published here, that they surveyed 1.5 lakh respondents, that more adolescent e-cigarette users reported using their first tobacco product within 5 months of vaping when compared to users of cigarette and others tobacco products combined. Okay. Study said that e-cigarettes are highly engineered drug delivery devices designed to create and sustain addiction. Okay. This resulted in heightened addiction and increased mental dependency. It's hard to leave it. These new age gateway devices are also being used to experiment with harder substances such as cannabis, which is your what you called marijuana, and even cocaine and heroin. Okay. Many believe that vaping only involves harmless water vapor and pleasant flavors. The reality is far more sinister. Sinister means evil, and can lead to a lifetime of substance abuse issues. Substance abusers, all your issues with drugs and all of that. Okay, harmful substances. Healthy lungs are cooler, yes. There was a time during Rishi Sunak's ministerial tenure when he had collected vapes from high school class. Oh, nice. Good. Chalo, so that was regarding this article. So the crux of this article is don't smoke vapes. They are not healthy. Okay, let's come back. Don't smoke vapes, don't smoke anything. And college mein, it would be really hard to control, but you can do it if you have the willpower. Chalo, topic 4, Indians migrating abroad. So this is also an interesting article. It says that Indians who migrate abroad double their incomes. How many of you plan to migrate abroad if you are given a chance? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. How many of you would leave the country for better avenues, better earning opportunities if you are provided a chance? Yes or no? Miss Potato is saying, is the article very important? See, these type of articles are usually asked in passages of English or logical reasoning. That is why I covered them, because they cover a social issue, an important societal issue, and are also covered in the editorial, which makes them important, and they can be picked up directly into your passages. So they develop a holistic understanding of how Indian society faces multiple issues. Specifically, GK current affairs are probably not very relevant, but from an overall perspective, they are important. Okay, let's look at the responses. Me, yes, no. Me, yes, no, yes, no. For sure, yes, sure. Haven't thought about it. Depend on circumstances. Okay. A passage like this was in the Elon Musk. See, you know it. Okay, so interesting that there are mixed responses. Many of you would leave the country, many of you won't. It does not make you less of a Deshbhakt if you leave the country, because Indians who go abroad, they send in a lot of remittances to India. One of the highest senders of remittances to the country are Indians, which is A fact. So technically sending in more money into the country, but you're probably not creating jobs. You're taking up jobs and serving other countries. I mean, it's a personal choice. I won't pass any judgments on if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. But I'll give you both the perspectives, both the sides of the story. One aspect where you talk about brain drain, you talk about talent leaving the country. Another aspect, you talk about individuality, going for better opportunities and issues in India. There are multiple issues: pollution, women's safety. Then you have messed up economic policies. There are hordes of issues. I don't need to tell you about it. You guys are smart enough. Would go for study purposes, may come back afterwards. अरे ऐसे नहीं होता. जो बाहर जाता है फिर वो बाहर का ही हो जाता है. Foreign countries value skills more than India. Yes, that's true. They do. There's healthier work-life balance. There's better, you could say, equality among genders when it comes to payments or salaries. Medical bills abroad are too high. That's true. That's true. You get some, you lose some. You cannot get everything. So India is a major hub for medical tourism. A lot of people come fly into India just for their medical treatments, and we as Indian export a lot of affordable medicines as well. But anyway, let's not digress. The topic at hand is doubling of incomes when Indians move abroad. So let's go to the article and see what it's saying. It's giving you a lot of stats and information on how this happens. Okay. Indians who migrate abroad double their incomes as their incomes increase by more than 100% when they move abroad. Most Indians do not return home even if they are paid more than what they were earlier. So people who were saying that bus padhai karke aa jayenge or just go for studying abroad then come back to India. So numbers say something else and numbers don't lie. Okay. Chalo, let's see what the article is saying. Indians who migrate abroad often experience a 100% increase in their income levels, whereas Indians who continue to work in their homelands often have to wait 20 years to get such a hike. How much hike? 100% hike. So if a person is, let's say, earning 10 LPA in India, he would get to 20 LPA in on an average 20 years. Now, this is obviously an average of a lot of data. It's not true for one particular profession. In some professions you might get there in 5-6 years, in some you might get there in 25 years, so it's more of a holistic number. This explains why most Indians who go abroad do not return home even if they benefit from a wage premium on doing so. These conclusions are based on recent World Bank report titled Migrants, Refugees and Societies. So this is not a random report. This is a proper report by the World Bank. You can remember the name: Migrants, Refugees and Societies. This is the title of the report. Indians who migrate abroad experience an average 118% increase in their income levels. International migrants from Bangladesh and Ghana experience 210% and 153% because earlier, obviously, their income would have been lower than their Indian counterparts. So, obviously, the increase would also be monumentally higher. The report states that one key driver for economic migration is the wage gap between the origin and the destination country. Truck driver in wow. Example with stereotype wala example ye ekdam. Truck driver in Canada earns 5 times more than truck driver in Mexico, even after adjusting for the difference in cost of living. Nurses in Germany earn nearly 7 times more than nurses in Philippines. So they are giving you comparison between developing countries or underdeveloped countries with your developed countries and how they get multiple times more payment for the same profession, for the same job, for the same working hours. While the absolute gains in incomes after migration are higher for high skilled workers, low skilled workers also experience a multifold increase in income. Now, why are they talking about absolute gains? Now, absolute gains comes into picture because of what you guys were saying, that cost of living is higher, healthcare costs are higher, expenses are higher. So when you look at the overall absolute gain, कि ठीक है, income तो बढ़ गई, but खर्चा भी तो बढ़ गया. But still, there should be an absolute net positive gain. So absolute gains are higher for people who are in high skilled jobs rather than people who are in low skilled jobs. But still also, despite that, they also receive a multifold increase in their income. So there are multiple charts, chart 2, chart 3 showing you income gains. So where is chart 2? This is chart 2 showing you the average increase in income due to international migration. These are the numbers. Then there are multiple countries. Low skilled Indians who migrated to US increased by 493%. Okay. So this is a lot of data. About 85% of Indian migrants' earnings in UAE are spent in India. What I was telling you about, that the money comes back to India. There's a lot of remittances sent to India. Potential gains in income are highest when people move from low to higher income countries. A non-migrant from India would need 24 years of economic growth to match the gains made by an Indian who migrated to a high income country. While a non-migrant from Bangladesh or Ghana would need 43 years, and one from Philippines would need 78 years to get that comparable gain in their earnings, right? The report states that about 40% of all migrants eventually return to the country of origin. However, the number varies based on the destination. All migrants leave Gulf GCC countries, Gulf Cooperation Council countries. About 20% to 50% of migrants leave OECD countries, and within 5 to 10 years of their arrival, less than 20% of migrants leave the US, which would be probably a preferred destination for studying abroad. US, UK, Australia, and such countries. Those who do are mostly from high income regions such as Western Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. In these cases, the return rates are over 40%. Return rates of Asian migrants in US is about 20%. So these are numbers which tell you that Indians are very highly likely to go abroad to earn more money and less likely to come back to the native country India. ठीक है, बाकी आपको जाने की नहीं, that's your call. If you ask me personally, if given a chance, I would like to go and experience it a bit and then take a call whether to come back to India or not. So yeah. Anyway, what is holistic? Holistic is all round. Holistic is overall. Holistic is comprehensive. Holistic is eclectic. Holistic is from multiple points of view. Holistic is covering multiple subject areas and domains. So that is holistic. Okay. Okay, chalo. Let's move on to our next topic for discussion. And the last topic, which is the very important topic on Justice Hema report. So this is again regarding keeping in mind everything going on in the country in the backdrop of the Kolkata case and in the backdrop of multiple events which are happening every day, which is very, very unfortunate. Sexual exploitation of women, harassment of women, and multiple cases, rape cases, and all. So let's read the article. What is the article saying? That headline is Reality of Real Life Exploitation as a Structural Problem. Now, why is it called a structural problem? Let's try to understand that. There are multiple articles related to this particular issue in the newspaper. Before we talk about this article, let's take a overview of the newspaper as well. I'll tell you a couple of other articles which you need to read up. With 100 stranded in Sao Paulo, Indians to broach topic with Brazil minister. Why are they stranded? There's some immigration issue. They are calling those people illegal immigrants, migrants. So visa issues and all of that. So we are in talk with Brazil to sort the issue. Not very relevant for you. Okay, laws to curb crimes against women made stricter, says Modi in Maharashtra. CBI completes polygraph test in Kolkata rape murder case. What is a polygraph test? Do you guys know what is a polygraph test? Are you aware? What is a polygraph test? Then you have ads. Then you have state news, which is not important. You can skip this. Me Too movement in Mollywood puts LDF government on the back foot. What is Mollywood? Which industry is Mollywood industry? Which state are we talking about? Where LDF is on the back foot. State, tell me in the chat box. Yes, the Malayalam film industry is called the Mollywood industry. And वहाँ पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा ये controversy चल रही है with regards to the government having a lot of accusations. State government forms a team to probe accusations of sexual abuse. Revelations have put a few leaders of CPIM, which is your Communist Party of India Maoist-led regime, in crosshairs of opposition parties. So this guy is the CM of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan. Kerala government to hold post-disaster assessment in Wayanad. Okay. I'll come back to the editorial. Okay, this is also regarding the Hema committee and how it should help reform the film industry. So there's a lot of allegations always on the film industry that women are exploited in the industry. Women have to offer favors to get particular roles. All of that is discussed in this particular article, and how the committee constituted in which year? When was the Justice Hema committee formed? Which year, guys? You guys know the year? It's 2017. Yes, Malayalam is the correct answer. Yes, polygraph is the lie detector test. Correct. Truth test in lawman's terms. Okay. Yes, it's the lie detector test. You must have seen it in a lot of movies. It's not easily done in any particular case. It's done in high profile cases, and you need a lot of approvals to do a polygraph test. So, if it's a polygraph test being done, that means the issue is really serious. And this one is or was really serious. All of the such issues are serious, but yes, uh, glad there is some progress being made in this particular issue. So this article talks about the film industry and multiple film industries: Hollywood, Bollywood, Mollywood, all of them, how they subjugate women to such abuse. Then you have investing in persons with disabilities. You can read this article. Not very important, but yeah, can skip it also. This we already covered. On West Bengal civil police volunteers, this is again protest related to the Kolkata case. Not much to cover from a competitive point of view here, but you can read up on what the court said. You can read this part. Okay. What did the 2013 panel say on the death penalty for rape? This is a very important article, and you should definitely read this up. So, there was a committee formed for this particular purpose regarding the death penalty, which is called the Justice Verma Committee. Okay. So, they not only just talked about death penalty for rape cases, they also talked about marital rape, which is not a criminal offense in India as of now, even under the BNS. So इस पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा डिबेट हुई थी एंड कमिटी के रिकमेंडेशंस आए थे. What were the recommendations? I'll quickly go through this part because this is important. Justice Verma Committee provided for enhanced sentences for rape, increasing it from 7 years to 10 years, 20 years in life, but short of death. कि कैपिटल पनिशमेंट नहीं होनी चाहिए. Whoever causes the person to be in a persistent vegetative state shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 20 years but may not be for life, which shall mean the rest of that person's natural life. ठीक है, तो जिसको हम लाइफ सेंटेंस कहते हैं. The committee pointed out that there is considerable evidence that deterrent effect of death penalty on serious crimes is actually a myth. According to the Working Group of Human Rights, the murder rate has declined consistently in India over the last 20 years, despite the slowdown in execution of death sentences since 1980. Now, this is a very interesting law versus ethics versus policy dilemma, which is debated a lot about. You guys tell me, what do you think? Should law penalty be there for such crimes? Yes or no? Should death penalty be awarded for such heinous crimes? Yes or no? Yeah. Takshi, Tanvi, Gorvi, everyone says yes. Aradhana says depends from case to case. I'm talking about very heinous cases, very serious crimes. Rarest of the rare cases, sort of cases, which shake the fabric of the society. Those sort of cases. Just forget about milder cases or milder crimes. Pradnesh is saying yes, provided the provision is not used as a weapon. Okay. How would you ensure that? How would you decide that? Aradhana is saying in the Kolkata case, yes, but then we also don't have any evidence to prove who did it. Yes, that's one aspect of it. And where do you draw the line that this case is of a nature where you give that penalty, whereas this case is not of a nature where you provide that penalty? Such cases, rape cases, happen every 16 minutes in the country. One of these article was saying, I read it. So how do you decide that okay, death penalty is fair in this one but unfair in this one? And leave aside fair, unfair, discrimination, and all of that. The issue which I'm trying to highlight is death penalty to right is the right way to go about it? Is it the right way to go about it? Because it is a policy issue, it is an ethical issue from multiple fronts. The first front is it is a very big step to take a person's life, and the state taking away a person's life is a big step. No, I completely agree that the person has done a very brutal or pathetic or unhumane thing, which I completely agree with. I understand that sentiment. The challenge which courts find in giving that penalty, and why that penalty is not easily given, is because it would seriously decrease the survival rate of such victims. Now you ask why. See, think about it from a very logical perspective, keeping all emotions, keeping all sentiments aside. When you keep a death penalty for such an offense, do you think the perpetrator of that particular crime would leave the victim alive to tell the story? Because if the victim survives, it is sure death for him. So if you provide death penalty, then the victim dies. You guys think about it. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? The victim's survival chances reduce a lot when you provide death penalty in such cases. So although you could argue that it could serve as a deterrence and it would create fear in the mind of people, and people would be scared to do such things, but the other aspect is also, which is observed from a lot of studies, from a lot of reports, that it seriously reduces the survivability of victims in such cases. Are you guys trying to understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not against that penalty. I'm not saying that it should be there or it should not be there, but are you able to see the other side of the coin? How it can be a bad thing for the victim if that penalty is there? Because as law students, you would face such debates. You would be encountering such debates. In our particular course, like in NALSA, there was an exclusive course on death penalty and what are its impacts, implications, should it be there or not be there. It was an elective course, an optional course. So there are multiple aspects to it. You'll understand them better once you become law students. You are law students, but you are in law when you're not in law school. You don't understand various dimensions of the law. So you'll get that slowly. Now, coming back to what the article is saying, it's saying that the Justice K. Hema committee report, which was released by the Kerala government, has ignited a debate on the issues faced by women in Malayalam film industry. The committee, which was formed in 2017, had submitted its report to the government in 2019. A redacted version of the report has now been put up in public domain. Redacted क्या होता है? एक तरीके से आप summarized कह सकते हो in very crude words, shortened कह सकते हो. Though it addresses the issues faced by women in vernacular films. Vernacular are your regional languages, ठीक है, जैसे टॉलीवुड इंडस्ट्री हो गई, मॉलीवुड हो गई, बॉलीवुड हो गई, कॉलीवुड हो गई, जितने भी आपके ये regional languages हैं. The issues transcend these boundaries. Broadly, the report deals with two categories of issues. First is sexual exploitation and assault against women in cinema. The report says that women are often required to exchange favors for opportunities, and those women who refuse to cooperate are sidelined from the industry. Second is discriminatory practices against women and lack of even basic facilities. So, for example, more support staff, a better vanity, all of that given to male counterparts and not given to female counterparts. The brutal incident of the rape and murder of Dr. at a hospital in Kolkata also reinforces the need for this conversation. So now they go on to talk about the culture of assault and how it is problematic, patriarchal society, stereotypes, and culmination of social practices. Consent of women has become irrelevant. It's the crudest manifestation of this approach, not considering women as persons of autonomy and dignity. Then they tell you how it took 16 years after the it took more than 16 years thereafter for the legislature to enact the POSH Act. 16 years after what? 16 years after this particular case, the Vishakha case, the Vishakha guidelines regarding harassment at workplace. So उसके 16 years बाद एक actual law हम enact कर पाए for prevention of sexual harassment at workplaces, जिसको आप POSH भी कहते हो in common parlance. A notable feature of the legislation is that it provides for constitution of an ICC, which is your Internal Complaints Committee. ठीक है, तो कुछ लोगों का ग्रुप होता है जो न्यूट्रल रहेंगे, जो ये कंप्लेंट सुनेंगे. 10 लोगों का ग्रुप होता है डेली, which would protect women from such cases in the workplace and would deliver justice. अब इसमें भी issues ये आते हैं कि sometimes men are appointed to these ICCs and sometimes people who are against the victim are appointed to these internal complaint committees. So that is also another challenge which is prevalent in a lot of organizations. Justice Hema committee report has however indicated ICC is not suitable for women in the film industry. It is argued that there is a likelihood of abuser or employer influencing the ICC members, which I was telling you. Okay. Then you have the registration of crimes, कि कितने crimes register हो रहे हैं और कितने register हो ही नहीं रहे हैं. They're telling you about the Nipun Saxena case. The Supreme Court explained the importance of penalization of the disclosure of the name and identity of the survivors of sexual offences mandated in the IPC, which is now reiterated in Section 72 and 73 of the BNS. Okay? So this is regarding the identity of the abusers and the victim. Then you talk about the right to privacy as well, which is a fundamental right under Article 21, which was decided in which case? In the Puttaswamy case, KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India. It was also called the Aadhaar case. ठीक है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट जजमेंट्स हैं जो आपको पता होने चाहिए. ठीक है, विशाखा केस हो गया, पुट्टास्वामी केस हो गया, एंड आपका जितने भी ये स्पेशली विमेन राइट्स से रिलेटेड इश्यूज हैं, वो सारे केसेस आपको याद होने चाहिए, बिकॉज अब इनकी प्रोबेबिलिटी बहुत ज़्यादा है कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स में पूछे जाने की, बिकॉज द इशू हैज़ बीन इन न्यूज़ फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. ठीक है, with survivors often reluctant to pursue complaints in the case of sexual assault, is important for us to recognize that people don't come up, people don't speak up against such cases because they fear that they would not get work or they would be sidelined, they would be discriminated against. Then they're saying that we need structural reforms. The accusation in 2017 against Harvey Weinstein, the American film producer, had eventually led to the hashtag #MeToo movement, which gained a lot of momentum on social media, received global attention. Findings in the Hema committee report must pave the way for structural reforms, for which the government must take an effective lead. The difficulties faced by women in the industry, particularly those in lower strata, as opposed to lead actresses, deserve acknowledgement. From lack of adequate sanitation facilities to hostile bias, every issue needs comprehensive study and resolution. And more importantly, report would accelerate the Indian women's struggle against workplace discrimination by equipping her with an emboldened awareness. ठीक है, तो फर्स्टली तो अवेयरनेस होनी चाहिए, दूसरा ये इश्यूज को एक्नॉलेज किया जाना चाहिए, तीसरा स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स लाने चाहिए, चौथा अवेयरनेस क्रिएट होनी चाहिए, पांचवा देयर शुड बी रेजोल्यूशन मैकेनिज्म्स लाइक योर आईसीसी. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं विच द आर्टिकल इज टेलिंग यू अबाउट, एंड लेट्स सी हाउ दीज थिंग्स गो इन द फ्यूचर. अभी तो थिंग्स आर प्रिटी बैड. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of today's analysis. Let's quickly look at the vocab. The first word is raiment. Raiment means a covering for the human body. You could call it clothes, attire, clothing. I want nothing but raiment and daily bread. Okay. This is definitely not a statement by me. This is a hypothetical statement. I want definitely more than that. Anyway, let's look at the second word, grouse. Grouse means complain pettily or grumble. Okay. She heard him grousing about his assistant. Grumble, complain, moan. Okay, the third word is littorals. Littorals means a region lying along a shore, coastlands, seaside banks. Tea plantation thrives and is being planted relatively rapidly on the Black Sea littoral in Transcaucasia. So the first word is littorals, second is grouse, and the third is raiment. And that brings us to the end of today's class. I hope you all got some new learnings in today's class. I hope you all enjoyed today's class. If yes, give me a like on this particular video. And yes, we are going to have our Menti quiz tomorrow. I hope you all are aware. It's a Tuesday and our Menti is decided we'll be doing the first half of July, current affairs from the first half of July. So come prepared. If you haven't prepared yet, prepare the first half of July, revise it from your months or whichever resources you follow. And we'll have a nice quiz tomorrow in the Hindu analysis session at 3 p.m. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 3 p.m. on the same channel. Law Entrance. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know the drill. Chalo, bye-bye. Take care. Happy Janmashtami to all of you. Celebrate. And don't forget studying. Bye-bye. Signing off. Yes, July week 1 and 2, correct. The mock analysis would be up very soon. Stay tuned for it, Rajnandini. It would be uploaded soon.